All right, some interesting news here with regards the Daniel Dubois Oleksandr Usyk fight. So, August 26th in Poland. Now, we've had no official word necessarily on it, but Boxing Scene are reporting that that's the date here. It's going to be on pay per view, and I don't think anyone is really going to be too surprised about that. But BT Sport are apparently changing their names to TNT Sport. I wonder what TNT stands for. I've heard some people say it's Turner Network something. Can't remember, but it's going to be on pay per view in the UK, but going to take place in Poland. So expect an announcement. It's going to be a busy week with announcements because I would imagine that we're going to get the Anthony Joshua announcement. Well, it's actually Wednesday now. I mean, they really want to get a move on. When's Matchroom's next show? I can't even think when their next show is. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head there. But you'd want to imagine they get the Dylan White Joshua fight announced. Obviously, Usyk and Dubois have a little bit more time on their hand. They've got roughly a fortnight extra, so they can get in around that 6 week time to market the fight. Happening in Poland, so near enough to Oleksandr Usyk's home country. I think they do border each other, but I think where this is happening is it's not going to be like you're having to go from one end of Poland to the other. It's going to be fairly close to Usyk's home. And he's had no real homecoming for many, many years now. He's been on the road for, probably nearly a decade now. I mean, I can't think of the last time he had a fight in his home country. It's been a long time. Certainly not as a champion, he hasn't. So it's going to be a homecoming of sorts for him. And against Daniel Dubois. So, Warren has been talking about, obviously Warren is the promoter of Daniel Dubois. So he's not going to turn around and say, Daniel Dubois is going to lose this fight. He's obviously going in. I'm sure obviously in his head he must be thinking, if you turn up the way you did against Kevin Lerena, you're toast. Don't do that. I'm sure he's not obviously going to be thinking that, but he's obviously, best case for him is to try and get Tyson Fury versus Dubois. He obviously wants Dubois to win, and he would want to do that for undisputed. It is a mandatory, of course, so there won't be a rematch clause if Daniel Dubois wins. That's what Warren wants to do. And obviously he wants the winner of Joe Joyce Zhilei Zhang, and he'll push for that to be the next mandatory for Oleksandr Usyk. The rumour mill is that it ain't going to be Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk at all. That's the rumour mill. I'm not saying it's definite. And that the Joshua versus Wilder fight, which would happen in December or January, depending on, obviously, circumstances, will be headlined by, apparently, Oleksandr Usyk, possibly against Filip Hrgovic, but not against Tyson Fury. That's the rumour I'm hearing. Not necessarily true. I hope, obviously, if they do that fight, if they do that card, I should say, it's Fury versus Usyk. That's what we all want. We know the reason why that fight hasn't happened yet, and it's not Oleksandr Usyk's fault. We all know the reason. There's no need to go into detail about it. I'm sick and tired of talking about it, but we all know the reason. Let's just hope that Oleksandr Usyk can come through his fight, whatever the hell Fury decides to do next, whether it's exhibition or what, I really don't know. Warren has been talking about a game changer. I mean, I'm not even going to go there. But Oleksandr Usyk, Daniel Dubois. Now, if we look at this fight as a whole, you would say, based upon each guy's last performance, there's only one winner in this fight. I mean, Kevin Lerena is a cruiserweight who came up to heavyweight who cannot really punch. I would say Usyk is a pound for pound a harder puncher than Kevin Lerena, just judging by what I've seen. And he had Dubois. Certainly he had Dubois in trouble with the first knockdown. He was definitely hurt with that. The other two knockdowns, therein lies the real question, isn't it? Because was Dubois hurt from shots Lerena was hitting him with? Or was it a bit like Klitschko when he fought Sam Peter, in a sense of he just felt so overwhelmed by everything, not the punching power necessarily, but just the fear of everything, that he just decided to voluntarily go down. If you're doing that against Kevin Lerena and you're showing signs of mental capitulation against him, and yeah, Dubois did come through it and he did obviously win the fight, but if that's happening against Lerena, Oleksandr Usyk, it's going to get rough in there. Real rough. And that was when he was with Shane McGuigan, who I rate very highly as a trainer. He's now with Don Charles, who is someone that's on the opposite end. I really don't rate. I've never rated Don Charles as a trainer. And I worry for Dubois in this fight. I really do. I don't see him winning. I see him having a puncher's chance, and certainly he will be. I think Dubois will take more chances, certainly, than Anthony Joshua did, but I see it being just a recipe for disaster. Daniel Dubois going in there against Oleksandr Usyk in a lot of aspects. We forget how young Dubois still is. He's only in his mid-20s, but Oleksandr Usyk, if he loses badly, that could really be him mentally wrote off, because Dubois is he's an interesting character. Certainly, he's very very reserved. I mean, when he came around first, he was only a teenager. I think he was 18, 19, maybe a little bit older, about 19 there, about 20 or so. But very reserved, and he's never broke out of that shell. And he comes across as just so awkward, and maybe definitely a bit mentally fragile. If he goes in there against Usyk and loses really badly, gets completely... Look, I'm not saying Usyk's going to knock him out one shot like Deontay Wilder, but if he's just mentally fatiguing with movement, punches happening a lot, getting caught with left hands, I wouldn't be shocked to see Dubois capitulate and not necessarily be hurt, right, and go out that way, God, his legs are all over the place and down he goes. No, I expect maybe that he'll just say, nah, I'm gonna take a knee and count me out. I'm done. Stick a fork in me. I wonder if that's going to happen in this fight. I think there's a chance it will. I really do. I think there's a chance it will. But let me know in the comments your thoughts. Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois, TNT, no longer BT Sport, pay-per-view. Let me know your thoughts on that. Will you be paying for it? Do you believe Daniel Dubois actually deserves this crack? Because a lot of people would say, what has he done? He's lost to Joe Joyce. He had a fight. Who did he come back against? I can't remember now. But then he obviously fought Trevor Bryan. No, he fought Bogdan Dinu to get made mandatory for the regular title, which is just bizarre. But he fought Trevor Bryan, who just, less said about that fight the better. He defends against Kevin Lerena, and now he's mandatory for Oleksandr Usyk. That really is, well, that's the WBA for you. The WBC and WBA are two sides of the same coin. I would say the WBC are worse, but the WBA, they really, it's a real case of who can outdo the other for just completely bizarre decisions. That's the WBA and the WBC for you. That's the situation we have. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, people. Smash the old like button. Help your boy out. Hit subscribe. We'll do a midweek report tomorrow on Thursday. Plenty to talk about in that now. We'll do that tomorrow. And I will hopefully try and get a live for you over the course of the coming days or possibly the weekend. I haven't had really a chance to do them over the last couple of weeks. I've had a lot of stuff on. And, give me a chance to get chatting to some of you guys again. I can ask for a bit of advice from you guys, because obviously I'm still looking to move. And that's probably going to come sooner rather than later, hopefully before the end of the year. So hopefully we can chat in those live streams and I can get a little bit of advice from you guys. So I'll leave it there, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. For now, I'll talk to you. Peace.